I'm saying something about types of vaginal bleeding and its etiologies. Undiagnosed vaginal bleeding may be mainly two types, either related to menstrual cycle or unrelated to menstrual cycle. Bleeding related to menstrual cycle is divided into two types, anovulatory and ovulatory. Anovulatory bleeding is painless and irregular, while ovulatory bleeding is painful and regular. Anovulatory menstrual cycle means menstrual cycle without ovulation, which is due to lack of development of dominant follicle. In turn, it is due to hypothalamic pituitary dysfunction and hypogonadism. This anovulatory menstrual cycle is known as dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Lack of development of dominant follicle is due to interruption of the normal sequence of follicular and luteal phases. These phases are under the influence of cyclic pattern of estrogen and progesterone. In contrast, in ovulatory cycle, dominant follicle is developed by the estrogen and endometrium is primed with estrogen to bleed on the withdrawal of progesterone. Dysfunctional uterine bleeding is mainly due to estrogen breakthrough bleeding, which is already mentioned a type of anovulatory menstrual bleeding. Anovulatory menstrual bleeding may be menarche bleeding, perimenopausal bleeding, or due to intercurrent illness. In dysfunctional uterine bleeding, bleeding may be due to estrogen withdrawal, progesterone withdrawal, or estrogen breakthrough. In estrogen withdrawal, estrogen is given and withdrawn. In progesterone withdrawal, progesterone is given and withdrawn. While estrogen breakthrough, estrogen is chronically produced, as in polycystic ovary disease or polycystic ovary syndrome and estrogen secreting tumors. It may be also in cases of hypogonadism. Estrogen breakthrough bleeding is usually vigorous, while progesterone breakthrough bleeding is optimal. Vaginal bleeding unrelated to menstrual cycle, either due to organic local causes or general causes. I just want to say, bleeding unrelated to menstrual cycle means unrelated to ovulatory menstrual cycle. This bleeding may be either hypo or hyper. Hyper or excessive bleeding is known as menorrhagia. Causes of these bleedings are due to obstruction of outflow tract or from intrauterine synecdoche or escarring of the cervix, cervical or endometrial lesions. Even though these cervical or endometrial lesions bleeding may be ovulatory. Causes in general are blood dyscrasia, thyroid dysfunction, tuberculosis, etc. Local causes are uterine fibroids, fibroid polyp, adenomyosis, endometriosis, chocolate cyst, ovarian feminizing tumors, salpingo-oophorytis, PID, IUCD, etc. Here was how to approach the reasons of bleeding. Later on, there will be investigations and its management.